Welcome back to the Morgan Streetman Show. We're going to get into a story that was actually breaking on Friday during Mindset Matters. And Pat George was bringing us the updates as we saw what was happening with Robert Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots, and something he'd been up to and obviously got arrested for and in trouble for down in Naples.
Well,
the
Jupiter,
town.
I think they called it.
Excuse me. What am I talking about? Wrong coast. Jupiter. Sleepy town. Yes.
Yeah, well, it's apparently it's not so sleepy around there on a Saturday morning. And by the way, if you pull this place up on Google Maps, which I just had to do, the Orchids of Asia Day Spa in Jupiter, Florida, it's like smack dab in the middle of a strip mall. I think it's next to a yogurtology or so. I mean, it's just like, it's kind of hard to believe what was allegedly going on there. Now,
it was back in the corner, though.
Okay, but over 200 people have been rolled up in this. And I can tell you, here in the Tampa Bay area, we have our own Asian day spas. I mean, you drive along Kennedy Boulevard and used to see more of them. And I know at some point they cracked down on them, but it seems like they haven't cracked again since then. And we've still got quite a few of them knocking around. Now, I don't know which ones do standard massages and which ones do extra services, like this one down in Jupiter. But apparently word spreads kind of fast because Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, is allegedly not the biggest name who's going to be rolled up in this scandal. And I love Zero Hedge, the website zerohedge.com. They had the best reporting on this, I thought. Now, they pulled from some different sources, but that's one of the great things about Zero Hedge. And they pulled in a couple of Wall Street guys. One of them was a Wall Street legend, John Childs, who apparently is also kind of swept up in this. He's 77 years old. And the former Citigroup COO, John Havens, a 62-year-old, is also reportedly being swept up in this prostitution sting. Now, the interesting thing is, it's not like the police raided this facility while the prostitution was going on. Somehow, they got a camera in there. And they got a camera. So, I mean, they got these guys on tape, apparently, soliciting and paying for prostitution.
Undercover cops that were like patrons were there. So
they must have placed a camera or something.
Yeah, and also, a lot of those places have cameras in the room so they can keep an eye on them in case one of the patrons becomes aggressive.
Sure.
Now, something I want to bring up, a lot of times, I don't know why this is the case, but when you hear about these places and you hear, something about happy ending, that just makes everybody laugh.
Right.
Oh, it's a big joke. But we do have to remember who is doing this. These are most likely trafficked human beings. And in this report, Sheriff Will Snyder says that women who worked in the spa were forbidden from leaving. They were kept there.
Well, there are a number of aspects to this story, because there is the angle of non-violent, victimless crimes like prostitution among two consenting adults. And I think that is one thing. The problem that we're dealing with, like you point out here, is the human trafficking aspect. Are the people that are providing the services, did they really consent to this, or are they enslaved? And what we're finding in a lot of cases is that they're enslaved. So it takes it out of the realm of being two consenting adults agreeing to do something, which from a libertarian perspective, which is more of my perspective, I think, well, I may not agree with what they're doing, but if it's two consenting adults, really, what business is it of mine as long as they're not committing a crime or victimizing somebody? But here again, in this case, the additional element is that these women were probably, frankly, sex slaves.
That's the way to
they
put
were,
it.
they and essentially prisoners there in the day spa. Now, what's interesting is they say Bob Kraft is not the biggest name. So who could be a bigger name than the owner of the New England Patriots?
Especially at this point in time, having just won the Super Bowl.
Right. So I could think of a couple of people, I mean, I don't even want to venture a guess as to one of them, but I do know there's a golfer who lives down in Jupiter who got in some trouble a few years ago.
Well,
you know who I'm talking about?
I do know who you're talking about. We can't say that because this is pure conjecture.
We don't know.
But actually, they have a large professional golf population.
Is that a big golf area? I'm just trying to think who would be a bigger name than Bob Kraft.
Right, exactly.
That's a pretty big name. So
at this point in time, yes.
So
did you hear about Tiger Woods
story.
getting upset over the golf tournament in Mexico this past weekend? Oh, he was very upset because his golfing was very bad this weekend.
Oh, well, We'll see. We'll see what comes out of this one. We're going to keep our eyes on it.